Izuku Shigaraki by Fangirl48 on AO3. Chapter 14. But beware the eyes who gaze back at you. So, Aizawa sighed, standing in front of the pair, arms crossed. Let me see if I understand. Toshinori gave a small squeal when Aizawa pointed at him. Your master's master found out that there was an immortal villain, and rather than tell anyone about them, he kept it to himself. Toshinori nodded. Aizawa then looked at Gran Torino, who was staring back definitively. And when he died, you and Nana, was it, teamed up to take him down, except things didn't go as planned, and she passed away, but not before telling this idiot, hey, and about starting the whole cycle all over again, Aizawa finished. And Izuku is his little brother who's been missing and frozen for the last 2 centuries? Does that cover everything? Grant grunted and nodded. When you say it like that, we must sound crazy. Shota sighed and sat back down in the front of the pair, looking them dead in the eyes. Does he go by all for one? Both men choked as they stared at the underground hero, shocked by what he said. How do you know that name? Toshinori gasped. I'm an underground hero, remember? Aizawa said. Anyone who's anyone in our field knows about the boogeyman. I just never thought he was actually real. That name leads to a lot of trouble, you hear. Don't you dare use it so casually. Gran Torino spoke, harshly. It was like he was expecting All for One himself to appear now that the name had been spoken out loud. Anyone who knows about it knows not to say it out loud. Did you ever even hear it? Shota sighed. It was about 7 years ago. Maybe I got a call to do surveillance on this gang. That name leads to a lot of trouble, you hear? Don't you dare use it so casually. Gran Torino spoke, harshly. It was like he was expecting All for One himself to appear now that his name had been spoken out loud. Anyone who knows, it knows not to say it out loud. How did you even hear it? Shota sighed. We're going to do that again. That name leads to a lot of trouble. You hear? Don't you dare use it so casually. Gran Torino spoke, harshly. It was like he was expecting All for One himself to appear now that his name had been spoken aloud. Anyone who knows it knows not to say it out loud. How did you even hear it? Shota sighed. It was about 7 years ago, maybe. I got a call to do surveillance on this gang. I was maybe an hour in when the screaming started. The screams were what Eraserhead remembered the most. Even today, he still woke up from his worst nightmares hearing them. He had come out of nowhere as the elite members and their bodyguards of the newest, most dangerous upcoming gang cried and begged for mercy. One guy screamed his name and said he was sorry before something ripped him to shreds in less than 5 minutes. 19 people were nothing more than bloody chunks of meat. Aizawa exclaimed, watching as the pair turned pale. The only survivor was the leader. Last I heard, he's still locked up in a maximum security mental institution, heavily sedated to stop his constant screaming. The tapes were quickly confiscated by the Hero Committee along with all the reports. Aizawa continued. I was given a strong warning, if you will, to never let what I heard be known by the president herself. Not to mention a well-known broker walked up to me one day in the middle of the street and warned me not to open Pandora's box. Toshinori gulped, realizing that all this must have happened just before the battle with All for One. Did you? Did I what? Aizawa asked, raising one eyebrow. Did you open the box? Shota looked at the pair and shook his head when his phone went off on the table. Picking it up, he saw that Mike had sent him a link with the message, "Watch me," written below. Clicking the link, Shota set the phone on the table as the three watch Izuku appear on the screen. Meta Liberation Army. The top exclusives of the MLA watched the video, most looking amused at the boy who dodged and weaved away from his attacker. Curious hummed and approved as she watched the boy speak at them through the camera. Too bad they don't mention his name. I would love an interview. He would certainly make a good ally. Trumpet nodded, his fingers lacing together. The younger generation could really rally behind someone like him. If we find him and turn him our way of thinking, perhaps I can make him my protege. Give the word, sir, and I'll begin the search for this kid. Skeptic plead, fingers tapping anxiously against the wood of the meeting table. Yennet was the only one who sat there silently. They were watching the video, wondering how strong the boy was. All he was doing was running around, not even a hint of his quirk to be seen. I shall have our friend go keep an eye out for this boy, Registro said, eyes looking at the paused image of Izuku on the screen. For some reason, he looked familiar, but Ruaka couldn't place him. Perhaps his parents have been members? In the meantime, Skeptic, if you would please start a file on him. Someone like this could certainly be the diamond in the rough we've been looking for. Gentle and La Brava. Manami waited with anticipation for the tea that Gentle was preparing. She had uploaded their newest video last night. As per tradition, that meant a special tea party was to be held before they opened the page to check their numbers. Manami had a really good feeling about this particular video, and was willing to bet it went viral. La Brava! A kind voice came as a steaming teacup was set on the desk along with a plate of heart-shaped cookies. Surprise! Looking at the cookies, the hacker felt herself gasp at the sight of the baked treats. The pink and red frosted cookies were her favorite. Manamis felt herself swoon. Gentle knew her favorite cookie. No one but her parents had ever taken the time to learn such a thing about her. As thanks for all your hard work, I got your favorite. Gentle smiled softly, setting down and picking one up for himself. Though I have to confess, I have become quite fond of them myself. Their sweetness pairs quite nicely with many of my teas. Manami's hands covered her bright red face, while Danjiro booted up the computer, pulling up the video website. The pair watched in disappointment, as it was not a picture of Jinba Criminal's latest crime that appeared at the top, but thumb of a green-haired nobody. Though Gentle's smiling face could be seen just below. Waiting to see how this boy had beaten them, Danjiro clicked on the video, and the pair watched closely. Shi Hasakai. Overhaul closed the laptop and sat back in his chair, thinking about the video. This boy, whoever he was, claimed that quirks didn't matter. It was probably a long shot, but Kai couldn't help but wonder if the child was a pure human being, someone free from the disease that plagued them. Closing his eyes, the young Yakuza leader started wondering. If this child was genuinely quirkless, he should be protected, and Kai was the only person who could do that, though he would have to do something about the boy's heroic attitude. And speaking of heroic, wasn't he rescuing a child in the video? Erie's current guardian wasn't working out. Perhaps this boy was just the solution he was looking for. One way or another, Overhaul would grant a new subordinate or a guinea pig. Garen. Kichiro knew who the boy was related to instantly. After so many years of working for All for One, the broker was proud to say that he was one of the few who had seen the man's true face and lived, saving the video and backing it up on numerous devices. Kirigo picked up the phone to see if anyone he employed was currently in Nabu. It was only a matter of time before All for One saw the video, and Grant wanted, no, needed, to be prepared. Himiko. Himiko giggled as she paused and rewound one part of the video over and over again. She watched with a hungry gleam in her eye as the person recording zoomed in on the adorable boy's bleeding arm. It was so pretty and red that the runaway couldn't help but salivate at the thought of the blood hitting her tongue. Giggling to herself, Himito turned off her phone and grabbed her knife, heading out to one of her favorite spots in the city. The next day, the dead body of a young man with dark hair and freckles would be found in an alleyway drained of blood. Spinner. Suichi felt excited when he watched the video, hoping someday he could meet the stranger. Someone like that would definitely be a kind person who wouldn't judge him, right? Mr. Compress. Atsuhiro sighed as he flipped on his apartment lights, shedding his jacket and throwing it over the couch. Another dull day at an office working for people who didn't seem to appreciate anything he or the other drones did for them. Looking over the altar, Atsuhiro smiled at the picture of his older sister holding his niece and nephew. The puppy he had gotten them held proudly in the youngster's arm. Perhaps this weekend he could don his disguise and head out to the park. Opening up his computer, already starting to plan what magic tricks the children might love to see, and if anyone was interested in hiring him for a job. Magne. What Magne loved most about the boy were his eyes. They were so clear and focused. Eyes like that were determined to change the world. Sadly, she knew from experience that people who had eyes like that were also those who ended up getting killed the quickest. Life wasn't a fairy tale where good always triumphs, and everyone lived happily ever after. Society thrived on cruel and bloody forms of entertainment, and kids like that one were its favorites. Twice. He seemed nice. He was an idiot. Did you remember to take out the trash today? His hair looked like broccoli. Could he help us? No. Would he smile at me, too? Of course not, you idiot. Could he make the voices stop? Fuck you, crazy bastard. We're the real you, Jin. Yeah, you're just a clone. Maybe you're the clone, idiot. Ever think of that? Jin pressed his hands over his masked ears harder, rocking back and forth, trying to drown everyone out. Dobby. Dobby threw his phone at the wall, rage building up inside him. How dare some brat talk about titles that didn't matter? If titles didn't matter, then what Endeavor was trying to achieve didn't matter. If what Endeavor was trying to achieve with Dobby and his siblings didn't matter, the pain his mother endured every day until she broke didn't matter. Was everything he had done up till now worthless? I'm worthless. Slamming the door to his apartment shut with a loud bang, Dobby sucked out onto the night flames, eager to burn something. Stain. Shizume was pulling his blade from a fake hero's corpse when his phone dinged. Jumping onto the nearest roof, the hero killer pulled up the video, wondering which so-called hero would be featured today. Imagine his surprise. It was not a hero, but rather a young child that started talking. Letting the full video play, Stain decided to keep an eye out on the UA Sports Festival for the next few years. Seeing him smile at the young girl, ignoring the crowd and his own injuries, gave the killer some small hope. Perhaps his message was finally starting to get through to people. If it wasn't, well, Shizame would swiftly handle this new fake like he had all the others. Ujiko. Ujiko was not focused on the video's main subject, but instead on the blade using the child he was fighting. Perhaps he should take a trip out to his clinic near Nabu and acquire the boy. His quirk, though simple, might be interesting to use in his next Nomu, and it would be simple to get around Sensei's rules about children. He had done so before. Tamura and Kurogiri. Kurogiri watched as Tamura Shigaraki screamed and decayed the old machinery. The warp gate user had heard the shouting from upstairs and transported the pair to one of Sensei's warehouses, thinking they were under attack. It became clear quickly enough, though, that after watching something on his computer, Tamura Shigaraki had been quite irritated, especially if his neck was any indication. Now the ashen-haired man was grappling things left and right as he murmured to himself. Lies. All lies. No one helps you. No one offers a hand. He's a liar. I'll kill him. One for all. Hisashi slept peacefully after a full day of being looked over by his doctor. The routine checkups always took a lot out of the villain, who would sleep for a few days afterwards, undisturbed in a safe house guarded by his most loyal comrades. Hisashi was completely unaware that the person he was searching for was just one town over, currently pulling drinks out from a vending machine. Okay, so I don't know how to feel about this, except I do know how to feel about this. Panic. Immediate panic. Okay, so thankfully, All for One has yet to realize that, Izuku's in the spotlight right now. Hopefully it stays that way for a little bit. I am interested because this sets up the foundation for villain organizations like the Meta Liberation Army or Gentle and Labrava, which I'm interested to see them interact with Izuku. The Meta Liberation Army, I'm not so interested in. They're kind of weak links in my eyes. The Shi Hisakai, I'm actually quite interested in that one because of Eri. I really want to see that one down in the future. Himiko, like Toga, oh my god, I'm interested for that one, right? Those are the ones I'm interested in, right? I'm also interested in Dobby's, because we have a little moment with Dobby where he's just like, was everything he had done up until now worthless? I'm worthless. That is setting the foundations of maybe Dobby not being as bitchy as he is in the anime, because in the anime he's kind of bitchy. I feel like his upbringing in his childhood definitely cracked him to a point where he's no longer empathetic and sympathetic for anyone else, right? He's not even empathetic and sympathetic for himself. He does not care what happens. He is just revenge. He is revenge if revenge was a human being, Another one I'm really interested for is Stain. Stain, that's and I'm actually quite interested with the whole Shigaraki and All for One stuff, because Shigaraki right now is the foundation works is laid. He does not like Izuku. He wants to kill him, but what is he going to react when he realizes that his sensei doesn't want him to kill him because that's his sensei brother? That's his sensei's brother. Like, that is a very interesting thing that I really want to see. And with Gento and La Brava, I just really love those two. I don't know why. I became attached to those two. I just want to see a little more of them, I don't see them that much. I already explained why I want the Shihasaikai stuff. Toga, I just want Toga in there because Toga reminds me of an OC of mine, except less bloodthirsty. She does become a villain because crimes makes her happy. Well, anyways, this is all like I could tell that this is foundation work for future stuff to come. Fangirl48 is doing such a good job with foundation works and stuff like that, and I cannot wait for the following chapters and also the following series. And oh my god, like I got the A-OK for this series, and then this next series also by Fangirl48, which is the continuous of this series, and I'm excited. I'm excited. Woo! Okay, as always, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds, have a wonderful day or night. Join our community Discord server, link is in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.